Hello, friends, and welcome to another life lesson by That Helpful Dad. So this is a series of videos that we have about, kind of practical solutions to real life problems. And today we're going to discuss the concept of whether you have to choose happiness or money. So this video is really intended for a few different groups. So if you're just starting out in your career, it'd be great for you. If you're considering relocating for work, it's going to be perfect for you. And if you're at kind of a midlife point in your life and you may be considering a career change, it's going to be great for you as well too. So whether you're at any of those points, you're going to face this question at some point: should I choose happiness or should I chase the money? Well, in this particular video, and I have an article that's associated with it on my blog, I'm going to try to talk to you and show you how you don't necessarily have to choose one or the other. You can actually have both. So I encourage you to watch the video, obviously, but if you do want the article, you can go here to my blog. It's thathelpfuldad.com. We have lots of life lessons like this. And also, if you want, you can subscribe and you can get these tips by email and you can read them at your leisure. So it's good stuff. I got a lot of ebooks and things that I give away for free, so I encourage you to check it out. But let's get into our lesson here today. So first and foremost, what I would submit to you in terms of a life lesson is if you do what makes you happy, the rest will take care of itself. Now, don't take my word for it, right? Let's talk about some people who shared some wisdom with this that you probably have heard of. So the first one is Confucius. And there's a quote from him right here. If you choose a job that you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. I think that's a pretty clear message right there. But I'm also really big into the wisdom of Solomon. Proverbs is filled with the wisdom of Solomon, and there's a great quote that applies to our lesson here today, and that just says, "Do you see a person skilled in their work? They will not serve before obscure men, they'll serve before kings." So what does that really mean? Well, basically, if you're choosing something that you love to do and you become an expert at it, then the money is going to follow, right? You think about careers 20, 30 years ago that didn't exist, that people chose to pursue them and make their life a career out of that because they love doing it, and they changed the world. And I'm going to give you some real world examples of that in a moment. But the bottom line is, if we choose something we love to do, we're going to be earning money while we're doing what we love. So really the question then is, how do we do it? So like I said, I wanted to talk about three different groups of people. So the first is if you're just starting out in your career, right? If you're, maybe just graduating high school or college, and you're thinking, hey, you got to do what everybody else does. You got to be a doctor or a lawyer or, an accountant or something like that. Those are great professions, certainly, and we need them, right? And if you're passionate about that, then definitely follow that. But if you're not passionate about those things and you're just starting out in life, maybe it's not such a good idea to do what everybody else is doing. You're in a prime position right now where you have no family, no obligations. Maybe you even have the luxury of being able to live at home and save money while you pursue your dream job. If that's the case, then you really need to make the most of your home base and use that to your advantage. And what I would submit to you, and what I tell my own sons, is follow your passion from the very beginning. Don't give away, any of your precious life towards something that you're not passionate about. Again, if you're in the very beginning of your career, this lesson applies to you more than anybody else because you have the most advantage to do it. What about if you're already in a career, you're married with kids, you have obligations, right? You got bills to pay, you need a certain amount of income, to make ends meet, right? Well, obviously it's going to be more difficult for you, but that doesn't mean it's impossible, right? And I would submit to you that the sooner you recognize that life could offer you something more, then the sooner you can break free from that rat race you may be in and pursue what really makes you happy in life, right? If you're at this midpoint in life, I think it's kind of important to maybe have a little bit of a wake-up call and understand that time is fast dripping away for us, right? There is no guarantee of tomorrow. If we don't pursue our dreams now, we may never do so, right? So one of the reasons I'm talking to you today is because my destiny, as I see it, is to, kind of share these wisdom tips that I wish I known years ago, and I try to pursue what I call a legacy life, right? We all have a legacy life to live. The question is, what are you doing to pursue it? So if you're not happy doing what you do, that's a recipe for bitterness, for resentment, for an early grave. So instead, I would encourage you to find a way to make a change. Even a small change that allows you to spend time doing what you love is better than not doing anything at all. I think you would be happier for it. We can both agree on that, right? So what's the first step? Well, I'm not saying you should be quitting your job or anything like that overnight, but maybe you can start with pursuing your dream as a hobby. And then once you can generate some income from it, maybe you can turn that into, what people call a side hustle, right? As you transition from your everyday job that maybe you don't really like to your dream job and your dream lifestyle. This way you can keep income coming in from your current job, and you should fulfill all the obligations of your current job. I'm not saying in any way be unethical in that regard. You should do your duties for your current job. But that doesn't mean you can't also do the thing that you're passionate about. And as you start to generate income from what you're passionate about, then you can move towards more of living that legacy life that you want and prove to yourself and your family that it is possible. A lot of people have followed that path. I'm not just making that up, right? You can do this, but the first step is you have to take action, right? So one of the great resources for this, right, that's been out for the last decade or so is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And the purpose of this video is not necessarily to go over that book, but it is applicable for our discussion today. So I certainly would recommend that you take a look at that. But what I want to do now, though, is kind of give you some real life examples of people who did, choose happiness and actually got both happiness and wealth. And so the first would be Bill Gates. Obviously, we've heard of him, right? I mean, this guy, do you know his story, right? I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but basically he dropped out of college and started playing around with broken computer parts, right? People around his town thought he was a loser. Even his parents were afraid he wouldn't amount to much, right? But, Bill Gates went on to invent some of the most important software of our generation. I'm sure you've heard of Windows, as well as, he founded, Microsoft and, really kind of started one of the first forerunners of the whole personal computer generation. And now he's one of the richest men in the world. So why does that matter to our discussion? Well, again, he didn't follow a normal path in life, right? He followed his dreams. He made up his dreams, right? There was no career path for him at that time, right? Even the rest of the world thought he was crazy, but he didn't. And so he pursued his dreams in the face of those challenges, right? Or how about somebody else? You know who this is? Einstein, right? So this guy, he didn't even finish high school. He dropped out when he was 15 years old, and he was working in the post office, and he decided to leave that career to pursue what he loved, which is a career in physics. Now, hey, look, you and probably 99% of the rest of the world doesn't like the subject of physics, but this guy did, and that's the point, right? So Einstein followed his own path in life, and when he did that, like Bill Gates, he changed the world, right? And so maybe he didn't become as rich as Bill Gates, but he found wealth beyond his wildest dreams in terms of finding a path to what he loved to do. And I would submit to you that that really is true wealth, right? So you've got financial freedom and you've got what you're happy about. So what I would say to you really is, if you do what you love, there is a path for that. Again, I'm not telling you to drop out of college or not finish high school. You should do those things. But you should also take some time to find out what it is you're passionate about, right? When you do that, whether you're passionate about computers or music or sharing wisdom with the world, right? If you become a true expert in your field, then the money will follow. So kind of tracking back to what Solomon said here, right? If you get skilled and you become the best, for example, in what you're most skilled at, then you're going to be found. People are going to know who you are. And if you do what you love, then you're going to find true happiness. And that's, I think, what it's all about, right? If Bill Gates didn't do what he loved, maybe we wouldn't have the computers that we have today. If Einstein didn't do what he loved, we wouldn't have the theory of relativity. And who knows if Elon Musk can pursue his space travel ventures if Einstein didn't come before him, right? So what if, Bill Gates stayed in college? What if Einstein still, worked at the post office? Would the world be a better place? Probably not. So I'll turn that question over to you. If you just keep doing what you're not happy, are you going to find happiness? Probably not. I say the question is, what will your contribution in life be? Who knows? You might just change the world. So if you like life lessons like this, again, we talk about them on my blog, That Helpful Dad. There's, pages and pages devoted to it. And just as kind of a side note here, this life lesson actually is from a book I wrote. It's called Diary of a Minecraft Dad. I love playing video games with my kids. And this is a free book you can get if you come to my blog. Teach you how some 200 tips about Minecraft, as well as some life lessons in real life that we can apply from the game. But that's not really the point of this particular video. Again, the point of this video is to share with you that you can have both happiness and money if you do what you love. And I hope that you will do that. God bless you and have a good day.